Good evening, everyone. This is Dreamy Riley coming to you live on what do you call it now? A very lovely weekend here in South Florida. I'm in South Florida right now, and we're doing a little special right now on Miguel Models. As you know, I was part of Miguel Models a couple of years ago with the founder of Miguel Models, Mr. Michael Barnett, who has groomed so many hundreds of girls, young ladies, who have gone on to bigger and better things in life. You know, some have become entrepreneurs, doctors, lawyers, all over. They're all over the world, and we just want to get an insight on the what do you call it now? The how the girls have gone are doing so far in their lives, how Miguel Models impacted them over the years, what they have learned and what they didn't learn, you know. But as I said, this is a series we'll be doing. We're working on the time factor of it because I know time factors, zone factors all over is a bit different. But tonight we'll be here from 8:30. We'll be doing it 45 minutes to an hour, and but we will keep you
That's eight.
informed.
That's 8:30
In
Jamaica time.
Yes, Eastern Daylight Time. That's Mr. Barnett. Yes, that's Eastern Daylight Time. Welcome, Michael Barnett. Welcome to Irie Times. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm good.
Boy, I'm saying that stack of records behind you, man. Wow, indeed. What a collection.
Yeah,
Oh
that's a part
gosh.
of the story.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Tell me a little something. How you got started in Miguel Models? What inspired you to do this? Scratch your head. I know.
Well, well, I was living in the USA between 1967 and I came back to Jamaica 1982. The last few years of my stay in the US between 1978 to 1982, I started playing music for fashion shows and so on. And it was very exciting, very interesting. And I put on a couple shows of my own um, the last year before I came back to Jamaica, 82. When I came back home, I decided to continue with the fashioning that I was so interested in. So I formed a group. I had an organization called M Love, and the model aspect, it was a music and fashion organization. So the music was M Love, The fashion was Miss Love, a group of young ladies. I started with a family member and a couple of friends and so on. And we started doing parties with fashion shows included. That was being done at a hotel up in Stony Hill called the Casamonte Hotel.
Yeah, I know that hotel.
Yeah, that went on for about 3 years, and it grew. And more models were interested. They heard about it. They contacted me. I spoke with them, got them involved, and all of a sudden, Miss Love started to grow.
Wow.
Uh, it went so far that in 1984, we had two huge shows, one at the Courtly, and we were able to get Cindy Breakspeare to be a guest model. At the time, Denise Slowly, who was Miss Jamaica fashion model, and Jackie Tyson, who was a contestant in the Miss Jamaica fashion model, to be guest models along with Miss Love, the Miss Love team. And it was a huge success.
That was some big names too.
Yeah. Yeah, man. We took the show. We did the show at the Courtly in Kingston, and then we took the show to the Ocho Sheraton in Ocho Rios, and it went very well. We even had two international models, one from Belgium. We got that young lady named Monique through the Belgian ambassador, and we had a male model called Paul Sleem, one of the top male models out of England, who was visiting Jamaica, and somebody put him on to me. So it was a stroke of luck. We also had Althea Lang, who was a former Miss Jamaica model, fashion model, Miss Jamaica fashion model, as a guest model. So it was a huge production. Anyway, I I was offered a job at the Oceana Hotel, and to be and this was now in 1985. I was offered a job at the Oceana to become the entertainment manager and the public relations manager. Took the job, and basically that was the end of Miss Love, because my job at the Oceana, it was very hectic. But then we had to build an entertainment program for the Oceana because there was nothing happening there when I got the job. And so I said, fashion modeling would go very well with the entertainment program. So I slept on it, I prayed about it and everything. And then it came to me to reform Miss Love at the Oceana, but with a different name. Now, at that time, there were a lot of model agencies in Europe and America. A lot of these agencies were named after the owners of the agencies. And I said, but I don't like the term Michael Models. No, that don't sound right.
Not catchy
No,
enough.
no. It's too possessive then, in a sense. And then the thought hit me that Miguel is the Spanish for Michael.
Okay.
And I said, yes, that is it, Miguel Models. Most people in Jamaica would not understand that Miguel is Michael,
Right, exactly.
because it ended up that a lot of people over the years asked me, why did I choose Miguel Models and what is the
Okay.
meaning of Miguel and all
Right.
of that. So they didn't understand that it was still Michael. Yeah, so that's how I came up with Miguel Models. And I started with actually with one model who was working with me during the Miss Love days, and that was Marilyn Brown.
Okay.
And then it started to grow.
So Marilyn was
And
really
then
your first model
under Miguel Models,
under the Mega
yes.
Models. Right.
Yes, yeah. And then I planned some monthly fashion shows, and we brought in a few models. And out of that, I started to uh, interview models who were interested in joining this Miguel Model Agency. And now in 1986, I officially launched Miguel Models. We had about 12 models at the time, models like Marilyn, Elizabeth Taylor. There were a couple of girls who migrated. There was a Carlene Foster. I remember her, and Suzette. Well, the names escape me now,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
but we started with about 12 models, Miguel models. And that's how we began. And of course, the rest is history.
Oh yes, indeed, it is history. You know, you
Yes.
have come a long way, and have traditionally exposed these young ladies to
Yes.
different aspects of life.
Absolutely. Yes.
Boy, and you know something, Mark?
We used to, we used to, we used to have our grooming and rehearsals every Saturday morning at 11. And that's where all of what we did for the shows took place in terms of rehearsals, interviews, grooming classes, etc. Yeah, every Saturday morning.
It was like a regiment. You know, they have to learn
Yes,
all of this.
yes, definitely. And our shows were once a month, the last Friday of every month at Oceana. And it created a sensation because we had a happy hour every Friday. And it used to go very well. But when we brought in the fashion show monthly, the crowd expanded.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow, wow.
yeah. And it took off.
And today, Miguel Models is a name etched in the annals of Jamaican modeling agencies.
Yes, definitely.
Uh, our first guest is one of your models. I have photographed her many times at super clubs. Fantastic young lady. When I think I met her, she was what, 18 years old, 17 years old, and boy, she had some
Yeah,
moves on
she was a
her.
very young lady at the time,
Yeah,
very young.
we would like to welcome Corrinna Graham. Welcome, welcome, P.A. Doctor, I should say, Doctor Corrinna Graham. Good evening, my dear. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You're still looking so beautiful
Oh,
after
so
all
kind of
these
you. Thank you.
years. Boy, I'm telling
I
you.
don't know. But
Where
thank
are you
you.
now?
I'm at home.
Okay. You're in the
And
USA now.
huh?
You're in the USA
Yes.
now. Okay, good, good. What state?
New York. I'm in New York.
Ah, good old New York. Michael, that's our old stomping
Yep.
ground, man.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yes, yes. I tell you, you have to be in New York in order to learn the staff of life. So
Yeah,
tell me, Corina.
New York is the university of the world.
Exactly, exactly. If you
Yeah,
don't go to New York and
yeah,
live there for a couple of years, you haven't been anywhere.
yeah, yeah,
So,
man.
Corina, tell me, how did you get involved with Miguel Models? That's a story I
Uh,
never did ask you.
yeah, I'm listening to Mr. B talk. I'm like, wow, listen to all of these sort of stuff and, how he started it, and, like history lessons, right? For me, I actually have a picture I pulled up. I was trying to dig for stuff. Sorry, I can't share it on screen. But my journey to Miguel started with me becoming the first Miss Dunrobin. And from that, the community people, a couple of students were just talking and saw me. And so some folks that lived in the community approached me later about this here, what Mr. Barnett was talking about. I don't know if you can see it. Oceana Hotel was a sponsor for this, the Miss Jamaica
Okay.
Independence pageant. And
Yes,
so,
yes.
yeah, so I was a contestant in that, and that's how Mr. Barnett and my story would have begun.
So he discovered you.
In essence, I remember some aspect of it. If my mom's joining online, then she could type or say stuff. I don't remember everything, but I know I chose to sing, and I had no music. So I ended up having to sing a cappella. I don't know how I sounded because one of the things I know about models in general, most of us are typically shy, right, or reserved. And I know a lot of my Miguel sisters were somewhat that way. So becoming a model was something even my mom and she had a talk with a nun that was from our parish, very dear person to us, and about me getting involved in this because I was raised, Christian and very involved in my faith and church. And we even at the event we had then another. He became, later became a priest and so on. That was came to support me for this big event. So I would then ask Mr. Barnett, like, what did he, if he can remember, if he remember the pageant and stuff, and remember how he recruited me, because I'm curious about that. But that began my journey with Miguel's. And yes, I think I was like 16 at the time, probably not yet 17.
You remember Michael?
Well, if my memory serves me correctly, I think I invited her to an audition.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw her at the contest and
Yeah.
invited her for because over the years I've come to be able to spot talent
You have that eye.
and yeah, talent that can improve themselves down the road and become what you call stars of the catwalk.
Okay. Okay.
I wasn't a
Okay.
star of his catwalk because I was still very shy, but I
Yeah.
may have been a star of his print work.
I'm telling you.
Well,
I'm
well,
telling you.
well, yeah. I can tell Corrine was very shy, of course, as she says, but I saw something in her that we could develop.
Okay.
Because one thing about Miguel Models, we don't go by the fashion book. What I do, I discuss the basics with the ladies but I allow them to use their own style, their own personality into the modeling and just help to improve them. So you'll find that each of our models has a different presentation.
Oh yes, definitely.
A lot of times in agencies, when you look at a show, everybody looks the same, walk the same, turn the same, everything. No, I'm not for that. I want the young lady to bring her personality into the mix, but more developed.
Okay.
So
Yes.
that's what we did with Corina. And another thing I did, which was I thought was very um, you know, unusual, unique. Every model for a while, their names ended in a A. I always made sure the names ended in a A. So
Really?
if yes,
How you do
I
that?
usually no
That's very
because
unusual.
yes, it is, and that's what I did. Most of the models, unless it's not possible,
Okay.
if unless I'm satisfied with the name that you have, then I leave it alone. For instance, I remember Marilyn, yeah, because of Marilyn Monroe. So
Mm-hmm.
Marilyn had a stage name already,
Okay.
but Corinne is short, and I take off the E and I put on an A. Most of the models I did that.
Okay. So it's
Or I
Corina.
gave them a stage name. Yeah. For
Yes.
instance, Karen, Corina,
Mm-hmm.
uh, all the models. Deanne Davidson became Diana.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating. How you
It
did that,
has
boy?
a it's all about the attraction on the stage.
And the creativity of your mind.
Yes. 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 For instance, Diana is more attractive on stage than Diane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Corina is more attractive on stage than Corinne.
And more
And
attractive
all
in print.
and surprisingly, it has become their names through their lives.
Right? So they have not changed
Yes.
it.
No. No. You know.
I'd like to welcome a few people online on YouTube. Dr. Debbie Light Miller Curtis, Vision Credit Queen, Dr. G. They're on the YouTube. I can't see who is on Facebook. So my apologies for that. You know, Corina has become, what do you call it now, the face of print in England. She has graced the cover of Caribbean Lifestyle several times because Noel Robinson used to say to me, Dreamy, I need more. It's not only Noel Robinson, but also Now Magazine, The Star. Boy, I'm telling you, when the Star see these pictures, a lot of photographers got so jealous that they complained. And when they saw the pictures, it was just unbelievable. Corina, tell us about that magazine that you graced the cover of Caribbean Lifestyle. The cover we did. Tell us about
I
that
don't
photograph.
know. I think as Mr. Barnett shared, is that he allowed us to be our unique self, right? And throughout our, I think our lives as we, matured into the people we are today, you can see that, that's something I respected about him even before the picture is, I want to tell the stories of my encounter that I remember of him. But I think that was just me in being in my element of, as you know, just being prepared. Those Saturday rehearsals were brutal. He was present there. We had to prep and all the sort of stuff. And I think that really just not trying to be someone else, but to just be oneself. All my pictures are just like, they're really just natural and not overly posed. And I think even with how you work with us, I'm actually surprised by the pictures when I see them, and I'm actually surprised by how people receive the pictures just in general. I look back at them, I'm like, wow, like, that was me. You're not going to see me doing those things today, but I think I had some brave elements I must have had just to overcome that whole thing of just being shy and just being present and just really just owning whatever it was and just trying to be the best version of what I needed for my job. That's just part of the thing. Is it was a job, right? We got paid. Just think about like what that meant. That wasn't It was a very competitive landscape, as Mr. Barnett kind of alluded to, and he looked at his models a little through a little different lens than what was the norm of the day, whether it was in the Caribbean in Jamaica, or whether it was in the US or in Europe, wherever it is that they were looking for. And that's why our models like really stood out. This was something we got paid. It was a job. We
But
actually was working. Huh?
you said during rehearsals he was very strict in his regiment with you guys.
Oh yeah, Marilyn led. I'm part of the Marilyn years, so Marilyn led most of those. But Mr. Barnett was present, definitely, and whatever oversight when he could, he'd come and he'd be part of that. But yeah, they were very strict with whatever it is, the time we had to be there. And I didn't drive. My mom didn't drive, so it for many of us we took the bus. So it's a mom would escort on the bus and then make sure that we get back or whatever times that we needed to get there. But he was very strict, and I think that's just out of respect for us as young women, right, and our parents. That he had an obligation or the responsibility. Now, I say that thinking about today's time, that not too many people take these things that seriously, right? He knew each and every one of us. He knew our parents, and he was very careful to be make sure that we were always safe, right? So there was an aspect of this was beyond modeling, was really a personal and professional development, and that takes into account, I think, a little bit. You see that coming on is just ethics, right? Or etiquette, I should say, that it's being practiced, or people are looking to do that a little more.
But tell me,
I
Corrinna,
want to add
for,
to I want to add to what Corinne just
sure.
said, and to say that discipline was one of the strong points of our agency, and it began with respecting time. We had thousands of rehearsals and so on. And I can tell you this, I was never late for them, not even one time. I always ensured that I got there before them. And when they got there and saw that I was there, they started to come on time. They didn't want to
Okay.
be late. Yeah.
So before you go, I want to sidebar on something on it, Jimmy. It's funny. Even for our show, like our show started, ended on time. Doesn't matter what it is. It would be, it's ready to go. Now, times are a little different. There are more people on the road, but whichever way. But it's funny because in February, this young man was not supposed to be whichever way it is. And sure enough, guess who we encountered in the elevator, or just as the elevator opened in February of this year, about being on time. So him being on time means he was half an hour ahead, I guess, or 45 minutes.
Hmm.
Tell me, Corina, as I said, over the years you have been there. How has that shaped you in your life today? How has Miguel Models helped you as a young lady for your aspiration today?
So I'm gonna say it was, for me, it was pretty rough, because a lot of people don't won't believe me when I say that I still have some element of being a shy person, or probably a little bit more reserved. I think what I saw from my lens, and that I look at today, so when I encourage others who I mentor, or if they ask questions that I can be of value to, is for them to understand the importance of self love, and just being in the know of that certain things are not just, they shouldn't just take it at face value, right? Whomever they're working with or for should care enough about them as if they were their own. And when, prior to becoming an adjunct, I used to do guest lecturing, and I always hear, when I ask the students what they think I did, they all, for there was a significant amount of them, one of the guesses would be that I'm a model, or I was a model. I'm like, wait, what? And I can't see that, but people do see that. So I would say whatever it is that we went through, or training, uh, still resonate today, or still come through in terms of how we present ourselves. And it might be a little bit more old school, I would say, than today, right? I think being a model today is a little different. There are some pressures that I didn't necessarily have, and I think that's because our agency, or the young ladies that I was around, were like sisters, right? So we didn't see that we were competing with each other. I can only speak for myself and the experiences that I have. And I think those things, even just the poise, I guess, of walking in heels, you know, and just being able to, put things together, how you attire, was, part of that. You're dressing for your best role, or for your best self.
You've been with him all these years. Is there you remember any special occasion where we got mad with you or anything like that? Cause you know him, he is a very strict person. I mean, and
Yes.
very very strict, and I know that there are
Oh my
certain times
gosh.
when he might get angry with you because you didn't do something right, or happy with you because you did something right. Anything come to mind?
No, so I'm gonna say, for me, he would have to tell me. I think he's always what you would say politically correct, right? So, and I think
Okay.
he gets to know each of us. Like, he's very observant. Like now, I'm gonna say, like, when we're prepping, and even for when we had our event in February. Like, I know Mr. Barnett knew that I was like trouble from then. I think he knew that, right? She just, like, and very strong will. Like, you're not going to tell me to do what I don't want to do, more so than most of the Miguels. I think I was always that way, because even some of the Miguels have shared, like, I always knew you were going to be like a PhD or stuff. You were always, driven to want to go ahead with your education and this sort of stuff. I'm like, really? So, sometimes how someone else perceive you or see what it is. I can't remember any time that he has been mad at me. I think, like, there are instances he won't probably share, but that I think I push. Like, even with Marilyn, I would say to her, and that was one of the things Marilyn would probably do, is help to kind of get us in. Like, look, not for nothing, swimwear pictures and stuff was not a thing for me, but I'm telling you, I'm in those swimwear pictures like none other. Like, I'm staying everywhere. people are like, and it was tough to get me in those. And I would do, like, I think for the shows, I was one of the models that would probably do 2 to 3 similar, even for photo shoots and stuff. And again, someone who is just a little bit more reserved, I would say, and more of a modest wear, modest model. That was tough. And then I'm going to say something that is memorable for me, and it's important to share this, is one day we had a show and we came back. It was in the country. So for those people who say countries, like the rural areas, right? Another parish or city, what you would call it. I was born, raised in Kingston, so everywhere else is country. So we had a out of town show, and we came back really, really late. There are times when you have a little bit of crime and it's elevated, so it's sort of hard. And we had, the driver had to take us. I think it was Michael at the time. He had to take, like, if it was 12 of us on the show, everybody around. So I ended up having to stay overnight at the hotel in the room, like, where we would get dressed and stuff. And oh my God, I was sick, so sick. I couldn't sleep. And Mr. Barnett came back the morning because he knew he had to, right? We didn't have phones, so there was no way of getting to my mom. And he knew it. He was the one that came, picked me up, took me home. So my mom didn't give me a can of whoop, whatever, because it would not have gone down whichever way it was. And for me, how many people you think would do something like that? Most people, even back then, there were a lot of predators around, right?
Oh yes, definitely.
That hasn't changed in the modeling field, entertainment, or so on. So to have someone like that, who is still like that today and treated us all the same, all the same, he was vested in what was going on or what was important and safe for us. So I carry that memory with me all the time because I'm a homebody a bit. And I knew my mom would have been, like, worried, like, she would be the one to drop me off and come back and pick me up, or we'd arrange for me to have a cab to pick me up. Or I had friends that I knew, if they were coming to the show, then they would ensure that I would get back home. But that was, for me, I won't say about him being mad at me. He can, as I said, he can talk to that, but I am sure Mr. Barnett knows that I was, as much as he was strict, I was just stubborn, and he wasn't going to boss me around like that.
That's you, Michael. You see that?
No, I'll tell you this. The only reason why I would be, and I rarely showed any upset behavior, but the only reason why I would get, um, beside myself with a model is when she comes late to a rehearsal or for a show.
Or for a photo
Yeah,
shoot.
I had a problem with it.
All right, I remember those photo shoots we used to do, man. 6 o'clock in the
Yeah,
morning is the
and
first shoot, and if
hold
you
on.
better be there.
Yes, and I would warn them that if you're half an hour late for a show, you're not gonna be on the show. You're out of the show. And
Right.
they didn't want to be out of the show. So they made sure that they were on time. But one thing I want to tell you, I want to brag a little bit about this. Of course, when we met you, Dreamy, you helped to raise the level of Miguel Models with your photographs. And for that, I have to thank you. I owe you a lot for that because your photography was extra professional, and it took us to that level.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Yes, yes.
Now, I remember when I started Miguel Models, the Jamaican Star used to feature uh, half naked white girls from England,
Yes,
topless
yes,
girls, and
yes.
so on in the style. And I didn't like that. And one day I got up and I wrote a letter to the editor. And I said to the editor, why is it you have a Jamaican paper and yet you're featuring these half naked girls from England? What about young people who are buying the paper? It's not good for them. I said to them, I have a model agency with nice young models in there. They're not going to be topless, but I can present them in some lovely, very classy, and I remember using that word, very classy photos in swimsuits. And would you believe the editor wrote me back and said, all right, send me a few pictures. Let me have a look. And I did so. And would you believe the center spread of the star became our Miguel Models for about 6 years, 3 or 4 days per week in the star featured a Miguel model in swimsuit.
And you know,
And
Michael,
those were your photos.
yeah, the Christine
Yeah.
Craig
So
was
we
in
so
charge.
wait a minute. So hold on. We created history right there.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Because Christine Craig called me and said the chairman called her and said thank you because the circulation for the star, the overseas star, had increased significantly because of those photographs.
Yeah, man. And guess what? Everywhere you went, you would see pinups of the models. So a lot of the models became well known to folks because they were collecting the photos.
Michael, I have a story to tell you. I don't know if I told you before. Corina, I don't know if I told you this before. My ex wife, my children's mother, worked at Rikers. Okay? And one day she passed one of the cells and saw Corina's picture on
Oh,
the
dear
wall,
Jesus of mercy. No
and a
way.
couple and a
Oh,
couple other
oh,
models. It's not just
oh,
yours, just a couple other models.
oh no, but still,
And
dude.
and they said they were so beautiful. And she looked at the name and she looked and she saw a photo by Dreamy Riley. She said, "That's my ex-husband." Took those pictures. They were
Yeah,
all over the world. They were in
yeah, man.
England. They were in England, in Switzerland, in Japan. It was circulating like crazy because the circulation for the star went up significantly in the US.
Yes,
You know?
definitely. And it took Miguel Models to another level that the other agencies in Jamaica
Oh
became
gosh.
extremely concerned
Oh
and
yes, I
afraid.
remember that too. I
Yeah,
got a call on that.
yeah,
The agencies were
mm,
calling the Gleaner saying, "How come it's only Miguel models?" The photographers were calling, "How come it's just?" But you see, they did not make the initiative. You and I did. You know, we did it, and we captured the market like crazy, man. I'm telling you, it was
And
yes,
ingenious.
that was before social media, right? And all of this other
Exactly,
pieces.
yes, yes.
exactly.
So one of the things I want to mention, which you mentioned your pictures, and that also took it in terms of the pageant when I came there. But there's two things I want to mention, and Mr. B can talk about that because for me, that was also another unforgettable memory. I didn't know necessarily the scale to like what you're saying, right? Like I'm like, wait, what? Like to even hear that, I'm a little like I'm not going to be paranoid, but I'm like, oh dear God, like
No,
really. But
no.
anyways, in London, I think it was he's now gone on home. May his soul rest in peace, Count Prince Miller. We had someone from Germany offered at that time, was back in the early 90s, I guess, Mr. B. About, I think I'm going to say the number because it's what it was like 250,000 pounds for me to come, and Mr. Barnett, with the help of Count Prince Miller and a couple other people, kind of, it wasn't that the money wasn't good, but if you watch the film Taken, that is what would have then probably happened, right? So that was something for me that was scary, and it was important to see that, again, when you talk about people advocating to make sure something is solid, right? And that your
Yeah.
models are going to be safe. That was, because how would someone in Germany know about me as a model, right? That's because it was big in, as you shared in the magazine in London, or in Europe, in England at that time.
You remember that
And
incident, Michael? Mm-hmm.
another thing, um, I was never interested in signing the models overseas. I always told them that I am not here to make you an international signee. I am here to give you work in Jamaica, to make your name and to see that you get work. So you earn. So I was never interested in the international market as such. I was focused on making Miguel Models a standard name in Jamaica and getting the girls work with advertising agencies, other fashion houses, and all of this stuff. And there was one time when we conquered the market. Yeah,
It's
in
just
terms
Miguel.
of commercials, um, people were using us for hair products, all kind of products. Yeah,
Wow.
so
Wow.
that was my focus, Jamaica.
That's the real
And
focus. That's
even with, sorry, Dreamy,
go ahead.
with, I just want to expand to say, like, that personal network that he had, obviously people respected and wanted to make sure, like, that value add was there for him because of who he was. Like, he was credible, right? He was a reputable person. I don't think you get that if you're doing things that are kind of flaky and shady.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, definitely. And today,
And
today, mhm.
another thing, Miguel Mal, it was like a family. It wasn't really an agency as agencies exist. It was like, and these girls were like my daughters. I treated them like my daughters. I was always concerned about them. How are they getting home? How are they coming to the agency, etc., etc. So it was more than just an agency.
Yeah, I
I
noticed
would
when the
take them home after a show, drop them off,
mhm.
and so on. Who those who don't have a vehicle or have transport to go home, I take them home to ensure that they're safe.
what I liked also is that when I'm shooting them, they behave like sisters. They help each other.
Yes,
They're not
absolutely.
competing against each other in the photography
Yeah,
aspect of it. They
yes.
always help each other out, and that pose don't look good, man. Do this and do, it's just the camaraderie about the whole thing. It was so nice. That I
Yes.
remember one day we were at I think it was Hedonism, and this top photographer guy, he always take these pictures of these big posters, Jamaican posters. He died a couple of years ago. He saw the girls there, and he said, "I want to meet this person who's taking these pictures." I mean, I don't remember. I don't know if you remember his name. He's taking all those pictures with the Jamaica logo on there for the tourist board. I don't remember his name. And the name Miguel Models just got so associated with super clubs, that thanks to Joe Issa, today for
Yeah.
helping us build that Miguel Model agency so much. And Corrinna, tell us today, what are you doing today as a former Miguel Model?
I don't know what to answer that question. Just don't know. So, I mean, long short of that is I'm involved in a lot of community work. I'm always trying to volunteer, and just my one of my purpose in life is to help others always to become their best selves and to do better and to encourage them and to let them know what is possible. So I continue to do that, and I enjoy doing it. And whatever it is we have, or a bunch of our sisters still we connect from time to time in our little group chat that we've started, and just checking on each other, and just keep alive, like whatever, supporting them in the work they're doing as well, and just being grateful. I think this is a way of saying really thanks to Mr. B. I keep encouraging him to really write a book, because he was doing something that, as you guys are talking and were sharing, a lot of the things were history making, right? It never happened before and happened, or was a first. Because that story, Mr. B had a young family too, right? It wasn't like he didn't, and he had a really big job in terms of what he was doing in addition to running this agency. And as he shared, treating us like queens that we were. None of us was more important or special. At least I think so, right? Was I the favorite because I was the one that was a troublemaker? Of course, I'm being facetious. That's irrelevant. So I think it really is his who he is and who he was to us is something that is needed in our society today. Like, these stories need to be shared, that you can have success. Success is relative. You can have good people who are doing the right things, and kind of creating like a story or a place or a resource for others, parents to see what they should expect or want for their children when they're in this space, right? Whatever it is that they're doing. Like, there is a lot of what I use, my key elements of success, to his story. He has a lot to offer and to share, and I think it lives through us, in terms of the work that we're doing, who we are, who we were back then, and who we are today, and where we are today.
Mr. B.
Did I answer your question?
Yes. Yes, it does. Mr. B, are you proud of your young lady right there?
Oh, yes, absolutely. You know, Corrine Graham, I call her Corrinna Graham. And now I call her Doc.
Right, exactly.
I'll tell you something about that young lady. There's a saying, it's not where you're coming from, but where you're going. And she underscores that saying, um, boy, unbelievably. Yeah, that young lady. Yeah, she has taught me that that saying is true. Yeah,
Definitely.
and that's what I'll say about her.
Thank you.
We are indeed proud of you, my dear, for what you have achieved
Yes,
and what you will achieve in the future.
and basically, when I look around at the models, I'm very proud of all of them.
Oh, yes, definitely.
They're all
Definitely.
involved in something positive, uplifting, yeah, and creating a life for their children. And, you know, trust me, I'm very, very proud of them.
You hear that, Corrina? So proud.
Yes, I did. Yes, I appreciate it. I do. And to what Mr. B is sharing, sometimes, when people you're out there, there are a lot of people who are just, you can't run away from it. They're hateful, they're angry, they didn't, they, whatever, wherever they are in their lives, and they look at yours and think you have a most perfect life. I guess my life is perfect with all its imperfection and all the trials and tribulations that I've, gone through and overcame. My family is instrumental to who I am today as well. My mom, Mr. B knows my mom very well, very, a very strong woman, very powerful woman.
Oh, yeah.
And, so all those little things, like, even in our community, like, people knew whose kids we were just because they knew my mom. She was a teenage mom, and they respected her. We went nowhere, and my mom wasn't there. She's dropping us off and picking us back up. And everyone who lived the house behind us, around the corner from us, the street from us, when she comes wherever it is, we all have got to leave. She's leaving no one there. And so, those things are things like I shared. Mr. B knew these, he recognized these. And when he says, like, sometimes I don't talk about it, it's not because I'm ashamed of it, but I know it has no bearings on who I am, or who I was back then. And people will overlook it. They only want to see what they want to see. So you don't waste those stories, right, with people who you're wasting energy, in essence. So, I know who I am, and as they would say, whose I am. And I will continue to try to work and to do something that's for the greater good and bigger than me. And part of being in Miguel has allowed me to create, right, that space, to not be as so shy and reserved, and really to own who I am today, right? Because there are things that was going on that somehow I was not privy to, and you hear some of the stories, and it was a great experience, and I'm happy that I get to be a part of Mr. B's story today, still, right, as kind of like a tribute to him and what he has done to help so
And you
many.
and you
And
made it
I
happen too.
will yeah,
No, go ahead.
I will publicly say thanks to her, Corina, and to the models who participated in surprising me with a fantastic, I don't know what to call it, but um, this might
Tribute.
sound a little morbid, but they had this function, they planned this function for me without me knowing. And while I'm there, I felt like I was at my funeral, but I was alive. Yeah, the way things were happening and progressing, and the various talk. Yeah, and
That's good, man.
I had to fight to hold back the tears, man. When I remember these young ladies, these little babies, and what they have grown, and what they did for me. Yeah, it was awesome, awesome. And I want to say thank you publicly. Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
that was crazy. In the sense of, I did want him to ball. He didn't ball. I just didn't get any win with that one. That was my purpose. I wanted him to just go to pieces and ball. He deserved it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, for me, in my, maybe you want to call it, in my being naive, I guess, it was always something that I think that he deserved and he should have gotten. And you know what? God was good. He worked it out that we were able to do it. And a number of us were, I'm telling you, like the little video, I'll watch it and was shared from time to time when we were in the room, like, it was a smaller space, like when we would have been getting ready and trying to do fitting and planning, and how just everyone just came together. Everyone just felt like, even the day of, the night before, just setting up, it was just pure. Everyone wanted it, and our lives are busy, right? And we've gone through things and we're doing things. But I always, Mr. B, I don't know if you remember, I don't think I had my PhD at that time, or I had just gotten my PhD, because we lost touch a little bit because I kept moving about, right? If I wasn't in London, I'm in New York, and then I'm back in Jamaica for a little bit, then back in New York, or something of the other. So we lost touch. And when we reconnected, I remember we had lunch somewhere in New Kingston. And that was when I asked you, like, who are you still? The agency wasn't around anymore. You were now in doing your music. And I asked you who you were in contact with. And at that point, in my head, I was like, wouldn't it be so nice for him to just be able to have like what would be like a reunion with everyone? And you know what the irony is, Dreamy, is that we were trying to do something, and honestly, with COVID happened, and so it put
Yeah.
like a little steering wheel. Mr. B's idea of the date actually was this year. If he think about it, he was trying to push it back to give some more planning or whatever. And I'm
Right.
telling you, that even wasn't something we were thinking about, and how it was, and all the other pieces to make it. And it just came together, and all my sisters wanted this for him. And I think that's the important thing. Like, how many people you're going to have in their busy life, like they're like, for Mr. B, yeah, we're going to make it happen. Like, he has no idea what some of the Miguels, everyone did, come together and did what they could and what they can. But like, they're like, for Mr. B, like, yes, let's make it happen, and made it happen. And it wasn't an easy, as he said, not even knowing, wasn't an easy feat. And but he deserves it, right? And it's one of those things, like, even with giving flowers, like, give it to him now when he can really, still didn't ball, but whatever. I'm not going to get over that part because I wanted that, but that it came together, it was such a blessing. I kid you not. I flew in for, like, my sister, her husband, my two nephews were even on the show for him, because he knows them. Like, he knows, he's like, my family's like part of his extended family, because he sees them and stuff over the years. Was like, I think I came in for like 48 hours, maybe a little over 48 hours. So I came in and I had to come back. I couldn't stay. Right. It was really that just crazy. He deserved it. It was really just, we will not get over that experience.
No.
Those of
No.
us, well, we
You,
won't.
you sure? You sure you didn't go home and cry?
I don't know. I
Well,
don't know.
no, no. I cried
I'm,
inside.
I'm
I
vexed.
tell you,
I'm
inside.
vexed.
Because hear this. Hear this now. Hear this.
Eh,
I did. There was so much shock for me, but one of the things that really hit me for six, I found out about the function a couple of days before it happened when I got a call from one of the models named Marcellus. And she says to me, can you reserve X date for us? We're keeping a little get together. So I said, okay. So she said, but no, the date that she asked me to reserve was one day after my birthday. Now, I'm the type of person, I don't make a big deal about my birthday. So I said to her, I hope it's not a party you're planning, because I'm not into no party or anything. So she said, no. So I said, let us just have a little sit down and get together and talk and so on. Then she says to me, well, Mr. Barnett, we rented the room at the Jamaica Pegasus. I said, what? That's when I kind of realized that they were serious. Anyway, it continued and continued. But the greatest part of it was my sister lives in Orlando. Her daughter, which is my niece, lives in New Jersey. So I mentioned to them through WhatsApp and so on that, I was attending this little event that the models had planned. And they said, okay. So then I found out that they were going to stream it. So I said, okay. So the Friday morning, the event was held on a Saturday. The Friday morning, I sent the link to my sister and sent the link to my niece and said, this is the link for the function that they're planning to have. You can tune in if you get a chance. Okay, fine. They said thank you and everything was fine. When I went to the function, Dreamy,
Mm.
and they were talking and doing the introduction and the opening, I looked to my left, and it's my sister I see coming from backstage. My sister, who I sent the link to, and she tells me yes, she'll be watching it. And hold on, and then I look to my right, and it's my niece from New Jersey. They went and arranged with them to come to Jamaica. Boy, I tell you,
Mm-mm-mm. Are
it
you sure you
was
hold
it
back the
was
ball in?
mind blowing,
I'm still never
mind
ball.
blowing.
I'm
Right?
still never ball. I'm really like, no sir. No sir, man. No sir.
The
Him rough,
things
man.
that
Him
they
rough.
did, the things that they organized, it was mind blowing. Marcellus was one of the main persons, Corrinna, and the others. It was mind blowing.
Well, you,
There
you,
is a there's a there is a when I got to the function, first of all, um one of the models, Simone, calls me and she says, Mr. Barnett, we would like you to be at the function at 5 o'clock. So I said, okay, no problem. I'll be there by 5. She says, no, we're sending a vehicle to pick you up. I said, no, you don't have to do that. I can drive. They rented a limousine that
wow.
came and picked me up and took me back home. When I got to the function, I saw a gentleman there he's a very popular, he's into security,
Hmm.
very, very well known because he was the security officer for the Jamaica football team when they
Okay.
when they were in the World Cup in 1998. So a lot of these celebrities that come to Jamaica hire him to be their security. So when I got to the function, went into the room, I saw him. So I said, Bobby, what's up? How come you know about this function too? Bobby looked at me and said, I was hired to be your security.
Oh my gosh.
Boy, I tell you,
Amazing, man.
boy, I
Why?
tell you.
You girls did a
All of that and he
wonderful
still
job.
don't ball. Yeah, all that dreamy and he still never ball. And dreamy, and that's what I'm saying. Like if you think about it, right? They treated him just exactly like we said, like he was like a dad to us, right? We had our dad who is very special, but this was someone whom you think that all these women had that amount of respect and care for. They would say, like, even I've heard stories, how the funds are just being able to work, help them to take care of either going back to school or just different things and just pathways like Mr. Barnett had shared. Like I didn't know about, like with Vanessa and the magazine stuff that she was doing, like it was a first, it was huge. So even not just in Jamaica, like huge internationally, like she's a
Hmm.
first, right? For, having a woman of color with that, type of hair on a magazine cover being featured or whatever the case may be. So, and he shared about like even they did a lot of ads, that's for sure. Like that
Oh
was a
yes.
huge thing. It became really, really like people would be calling them for ad for music videos, print work. It was just really fantastic. I mean, I don't know how, but I think that's a legacy bit, right? It really is. I was just a small part of all of it.
Really.
But yeah.
You girls did a wonderful, wonderful job on the whole thing, man. Indeed.
Yeah, boy, I don't need anything else in my lifetime.
That
Yeah,
concludes it all.
absolutely.
Wow. Wow. Well, Corina, thank you so much for being so good to Mr. Barnett. You still call him
And
Mr.
she
B,
was
right?
one of the head cook and bottle washer,
Yes. Marcellus,
Yeah.
all of those young ladies, they have all gone on doing their own thing now. I'm telling you, it is indeed to
Yes, yeah.
see how they have progressed over the years and what they are doing today. So we thank you so much for the first in the series.
Thank
And
you. I know,
we,
right? Try to get Mr. Barnett to come on.
this is all about him. This is all about Miguel himself, the Spanish for Michael, and the way it started and what you young ladies have achieved over the years. So we're gonna just keep it going, and we will notify everyone. Oh, you can see Karen Walton just joined online. Hey,
Okay.
Karen, I haven't seen
Hi,
Karen in
Karen.
years. Karen in years. Jason Neal, Tai
And
Turi.
Karen lives in your
She needs to.
state.
Yes, and I've not seen her. Karen, get in touch with
Mhm.
me. You have to get in touch with me. I haven't seen Karen in so many years. And as I said, there's so many models out there. We'd like to get in touch with them to see what our next series will be. If you have a group formed, right, Corina? You have a group, a Miguel Models group formed.
Yeah, we'll work it. Because I think the stories, as I said, this is if he doesn't do the book, this lives in that digital, I guess, version of you can always go back and it will be there. So it's archived in that setting. And I'm gonna say hi to my families and friends who are on there. I saw some of the comments. It's so funny. But
Ah,
yes, I am going to try and get our next, whomever it is, we'll work on it, and you'll let them know when next they'll see Mr. B, and who we'll have on to share other stories that he can deep dive about, Miguel's and their time there and all this sort of stuff. Because even I went to Cuba. That was my first time to Cuba, Guantanamo Bay. Right, we did a show there. I remember
Mhm.
that show. Yeah, that was first time, first and last time, but first, going to whatever else it is.
to
Well,
Cuba.
it's just because yeah, well, remember, I started to travel shortly after being with the agency. Like, I went to London for a little bit. Then I think I came to you guys first in Florida. Then I went to London. Then I came back to Jamaica. Then I went to New York. Then I came back to Jamaica and whatever else it is. And then I think I was in New York, whichever point. So I wasn't with the agency for a lot of those other shows that they did, whether in Florida or other areas. Because I think you
Yeah,
went back more than one time to uh, Guantanamo Bay, Mr. B. Didn't you do more than one
yeah,
show
man.
there?
The Jamaica Tourist Board hired us to perform for the soldiers who were based in Guantanamo Bay. So we went for the weekend. We did 2 shows. That was 1991. Went 2 years, 1991 and 1992. Yeah.
Okay. Boy, you have taken them all over,
And
Michael.
Singing Melody came with us as the entertainment. And we did a fashion show and he sang.
Okay. Karen is saying our
Yeah, man,
beautiful
it was
guest.
fantastic. It was fantastic. Fantastic.
So, see the people online that has joined us. Also, Bridget has joined
Yeah,
us.
yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say Corrine.
Corinne,
You
Antoinette.
have Toby was on some,
I can't see who joined us on Facebook, but on YouTube I can see who joined us on YouTube.
Well, next time we'll try and make it earlier.
That's up to you. That's up to you, Michael. But we know how busy you are. We know how busy you are.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
we got to
exactly.
make the time. And we'd like to hear from the girls, what time is, it's good for them. I know people have to go to work in the morning and things like that. But this is a really good time. People are usually up now anyway, but it is
Oh, yeah.
brethren. We have brethren. It's time zone difference. We have to go to work. We have class early in the morning. So
So you're gonna ask Corinne to do the scheduling of the models then.
yes, right, Corrine.
Okay.
I'm available. Don't worry about that. I'm good. It's just, we'll have to just check with Michael to see what's best, the time so we can schedule it. As it is, many models to get to, but Corinne and I will talk
looking
and
forward.
Yeah, man.
you know.
Everybody has their story and everybody
Yes,
has their story.
exactly. Yes. I
Yeah.
would love to hear the stories because when you write your
Yes.
Yeah.
book, all those stories are going to go in the book. Right, sir?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we'll just once we get his time, I'll see which one of my sisters are ready to go. So we have plenty available, ready to go. We just have to kind of get the superstar here. His schedule is super busy. That's what
Right?
happens when you're a legend in your own right over there in Jamaica.
So we have to go by his time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right? Right,
Yeah.
sir?
Okay. So it's all good.
It's all good. So we thank everyone for joining us. Some of you who joined us late.
Yeah, I want to say thanks to the folks who joined.
Just say thanks to
And
everybody, Michael.
thanks to Corinne. Thanks to Corina. And to you for making this possible.
I know, right? This is really cool.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Thanks.
So
Thanks, Dreamy.
What
Not a
I'd like to
problem.
suggest that you record them and keep them.
Oh, it is being recorded, trust me.
Oh, okay.
In 3
Okay.
different places.
Okay.
Okay, you
I
guys
got you.
don't sign off, all right? Don't sign off after I leave. Once we take our leave, we thank you for joining us and we will keep you informed.